Is Chadwick Boseman's James Brown charismatic enough to elevate this formulaic bio? You're watching Beyond the Trailers review of Get On Up.
James Brown, hit it! Get up off of that thing!
Look me in the eye. You believe in what we're doing here?
Get up off of that thing!
Man's a genius, and he's taking us with him.
Get up off of that thing!
Are we done, Mr. Bird?
We got more funk in the trunk.
Get up off of that thing! It's time for you to feel better! Get up off of that thing! It's time to release that pressure!
You ain't never been down. How you gonna get on up?
It's hard to believe that this guy is this guy, right? Yes, while Boseman kept his career alive with TV work here and there, he didn't really pop up on audiences' radar until he starred in 42 as Jackie Robinson, which is now how we know him. But when's he going to pop up on Hollywood's radar? I'll never forget seeing him on the red carpet for Man of Steel last year, where Legendary Pictures founder and CEO Thomas Tull seemed to be keenly interested in him. See, Legendary had produced both Man of Steel and 42, and while 42 had only done solid box office business, I thought this red carpet camaraderie meant Tull was invested in Boseman, an undeniable talent. However, that is apparently not the case, as while Legendary has a full slate, Boseman is nowhere on it. And with no call from Marvel or DC or even Fox, the biggest movie on Boseman's horizon is a small role as the Egyptian god of wisdom and Alex Proyas' upcoming Gods of Egypt. So while Boseman says director Tate Taylor was the one who talked him into playing Brown, Boseman was reluctant to do another bio, the silent phone in his agent's office was probably pretty persuasive as well. Get On Up isn't a horrible gig, but it is a long shot. Taylor directed The Help back in 2011, which turned out to be a strong Oscar contender, with Octavia Spencer going all the way. And one could argue that moving Get On Up back from its original Oscar-friendly release date in October to early August is merely following The Help's game plan, which opened in early August as well. But just ask the butler how reliable that game plan really is. Speaking of failed contenders, Jersey Boys, with Clint Eastwood at the helm, barely registered with moviegoers just last month, and the Four Seasons are also music legends. Did Ray and Dreamgirls tire out audiences and the Academy when it comes to music bios? Boseman certainly seems to be giving this role his all. He had no prior singing or dancing experience, but maybe producers Brian Grazer and Mick Jagger should have taken James Brown's own advice. Do what feels good, not what you're supposed to do. James Brown was known as the hardest working man in show business, and Chadwick Boseman is the hardest working man in this movie. Yet unfortunately, both deserve better material than Get On Up, because with the exception of Boseman's performance, this just squeezes Brown's life into your standard cookie-cutter musical bio. It tries to elevate things by telling the story out of order chronologically and having Brown occasionally break the fourth wall, but those just end up seeming like tricks trying to desperately elevate what is clearly dull material. You get glimpses of what made Brown unique, and there sure is a lot of talk about what made Brown unique, but it's never really shown. And while I'm usually against the practice of just focusing on one moment in a person's life to interpret what they were like as a person during their entire life, I think that's very short-sighted in terms of scope. Here, I think that might have worked, because Brown was so unique and so complex an individual, at least what I can guess from what this movie does show, that perhaps that would have benefited a depiction of him, because then you could really dig in, whereas this movie just barely skims the surface. Now, to Boseman's credit, he really is phenomenal in the role. He doesn't look so much like a young James Brown, but when he gets to play the older version of James Brown, there are some moments when the light hits him just right that you could swear you were looking at James Brown. But it's not just the makeup team and the hair team, which, by the way, are phenomenal. But Boseman, he moves like James Brown. He talks like James Brown. He even holds his hands like James Brown. And he has the singing and dancing down amazingly. And that's quite impressive, considering that, as I said in the open, before he made this movie, Boseman had no singing or dancing experience. I mean, he's doing splits all over the place. But again, as I said, the material just isn't worthy of him. And I got so bored during the film that I even just became frustrated that Chadwick Boseman couldn't do better than this movie, considering how talented he is. And I hope that this film at least gives him a push, and maybe he gets some awards recognition for a truly phenomenal performance. And for instance, he's really robbed of depicting, I think, full on. I mean, he gets to hint at it, the hate that James Brown clearly had, and a real awareness of us versus them, black versus white. And from what the film does show, he seems totally justified in his world viewpoint because of the horrible things that happened to him. But the movie just only is brave enough to hint at that and not dive in. I also had a problem with the fact that the film has there's one scene where James Brown makes it clear and he says, "Nobody helped me. I did this all myself." And that's clearly not true, at least from what this movie's saying, because he got a lot of help from Bobby Bird, and a tremendous amount of help from that man. And then also Little Richard was instrumental in his success. And I can understand that maybe James Brown didn't feel that way, and he was like, "It's all me." But I felt that the filmmakers didn't make it clear that they understood that that was a misconception on Brown's part. So I would say, go see this movie for Boseman's performance if you're interested in that. I hope that a lot of casting directors see this movie and producers. If I were Boseman's agent, or Boseman myself, I'd be sending DVDs all over town, or links to screeners. I guess you don't want to get in trouble for leaking the film. And then also you can go if you just really like James Brown's music and you'd like to hear a sampling of his life's work. But don't even go to learn about the man, because you're not going to learn very much, I'm sad to say. So that's my review of Get On Up. If you've seen the film, please share your thoughts down below. Thank you for tuning into my review, and you can check out some more episodes right now.